Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of First Look Final Word, podcast where we take you along to see a new movie with us. My name's Pete.
Yeah, I'm Trevor, and this week we are going to go see Civil War, Alex Garland's new political dystopian thriller.
Yeah, we were both just saying before we hit record that we were looking forward to this one. Not that we weren't looking forward to our many old episodes.
This has been on our watch list for a while. Yeah. Let me just read the quick description, then we'll be on our way. In the near future, a group of war journalists attempt to survive while reporting the truth as the United States stands on the brink of civil war. Oh, the brink of civil war? I thought they were in a civil war. Come on.
It's called Civil War, I think.
Yeah. I think it's going to happen.
It's giving it away a little bit.
Well, yeah, so if you're new to the podcast, we drive to the theater, talk about what interests us about the movie, then play a couple games, and then on the way back, you get our immediate reactions after leaving the theater.
Yeah, and if you're a new listener, thank you for listening. Welcome. For all you existing listeners, we appreciate you guys. I just want to say before we start, if you could tell a friend about our podcast, that would be very much appreciated. Is anyone you guys think that might enjoy this? Please spread the word.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get more people to listen here.
So what do you think about Alex Garland?
I'm a big Alex Garland fan.
Yeah.
Why?
Because you said you rewatched Annihilation
for the first time actually.
Oh, you hadn't seen it before.
I hadn't seen it, so I say I'm a big fan, like of his the two movies of his that I'd seen. But like even as a writer, I think he's done really good.
Yeah, like I'm.
Plus he's British, right? I got to represent the British.
Yeah, but actually, this is few British directors we've had, right?
Yeah, it's not me, I swear.
Yeah, I
don't have an agenda.
Yeah, only one Canadian director so far.
That's true.
A few Brits.
Pretty good one though.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So my feeling of Alex Garland, like I really, really admire him as a writer, and then I think he's like pretty good as a director, though I think he's stronger suited as a writer.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So yeah, why don't you tell me what you thought about Annihilation, having just saw it?
I liked it. He takes wild swings,
yeah,
which I appreciate, and I thought he did a really good job. It kind of lost me a little bit at the end, like it went a bit too crazy for me. Like I enjoyed it and I followed it, but it just was a bit kind of. I think it lost its way a bit what it was trying to do at the end, and it got a bit too trippy for me.
Oh, see, that's interesting because the trippy parts of the movie are the ones I like the best.
Nice.
So I like the movie overall. Though some people are just like in love with it, and that's not me.
But no, I didn't love it. I enjoyed it though. I did enjoy it.
I think he's come a long way as like a technical filmmaker. Because that movie is just beautiful to look at.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't really like the performances in that movie though.
Yeah, that's a pretty good show. I mean, yeah, I see. I know what you're saying, but I was on board with it though. Like it kept me going. I was never bored.
No, I was certainly never bored in that movie.
And like, yeah, it was definitely doing things that you hadn't necessarily seen before. And yeah, I see what you're saying though about him as a director, but like Ex Machina, I love that movie. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and I like it as well, though. I don't know, something's kind of holding me back on it. Like I feel like I should love it more than I actually do.
Oh yeah? Any idea what didn't you like about it?
I don't know. I guess like the dance sequences in that one. Like
that's fair. That's fair.
Like I don't know. Like I think the setup's really good. I don't really love the. I don't know. Should we spoil Ex Machina?
I mean, it's statute of limitations. Like, when did that come out? It was a while ago, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I think again, it's like I don't know if he's the best director of actors. Like, the performances, like Alicia Vikander is pretty good in it, but like the other two performances I don't really care all that much for, and those are two actors that I really like.
Right.
And I kind of feel the same way with Annihilation. Like it's everyone I like, but for some reason, when they're sitting around and having dialogue scenes with each other, it's when the movie loses me.
Oh, really? It's funny. I didn't really get that.
Yeah, I don't like I honestly like all my friends that I've talked to about that movie seem to love it. Like I seem to be the one who has a bit of a problem with it.
Well, I
But
mean, I don't love it, but what are you talking about? Which one are you talking about? Sorry.
sorry, now I'm talking to
Yeah,
Annihilation.
well, that's what I thought you were. Yeah, I didn't love it, but like, no, it kept me gripped, and it was there was a lot of crazy stuff going on in that movie.
And so you didn't like the extended alien dance sequence towards the end?
You know what? I was on board with it. I just feel like it was a bit muddy in what it was trying to say, and it wasn't super clear on what was supposed to be happening and what it was supposed to mean. Like I have an idea in my head of what I think it is, but it wasn't. I feel like I just had to infer a lot, which I'm not saying it needed to spell it out, but like it was a bit kind of like, what the f is going on?
Yeah, like I can certainly see that though. I sort of like the abstractness of it.
Mm, yeah.
What I don't really like about the later bit of that movie is like at the very end when she's with Oscar Isaac in
Right.
the hospital room and like I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
the way that they ended it's the way that like a dozen other sci-fi movies have ended.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's a bit
Whereas like the
is she good? Is it bad? Is she
yeah,
a double? Is she not? Like, ooh.
and I guess we haven't really been talking about Men. Have you seen Men yet?
I haven't. That was one that I haven't seen.
Yeah,
I heard that was very good though.
well,
Have you seen it?
yeah, I've seen it. It's
You can tell me it's not very good now, yeah.
well, I no, I don't think it's bad. I think
Who directed that one?
no, that's Garland. That's his third one.
Is it?
Yeah,
I thought he already wrote that one.
no, he wrote and directed that one as well.
Oh, I thought he'd only done these three.
Yeah, so this is his fourth actually.
Right, no, that makes sense.
No, and it's very very trippy. I think that like I have no idea what the movie's trying to say. Like I have no idea. And though like I do like Jessie Buckley is the actor's name. I like
Okay.
her performance more than I've liked other performances in his
Okay,
movies.
there you go. Maybe he's getting better.
Maybe he's getting better, yeah. But you know, I'm quite excited for this one.
Yeah.
As much as it seems like the premise is playing with fire. Like
Yeah, that's my only reservation about it is it's like it might be hitting a bit too close to home.
Yeah.
In terms of like I don't want a dystopian movie about something that's definitely going to happen.
yeah, like it seems like it's like, you know, reflecting a reality that's like not too
No, it's like
in the
it could
distant
easily
future.
happen like
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah. So I
Which
don't know,
is
like
quite terrifying.
maybe they're playing up like the similarities to like the current landscape, just to kind of drive curiosity for the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good time for it to come out, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's definitely hitting the zeitgeist of it. Be
Yeah. No, and I can honestly see like, you know, people like whether you're left wing or right wing, like being like a little intrigued about what the movie's gonna actually play out.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried about it being a bit of a like right wing fantasy.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I don't know,
I
like,
don't think it's going to be that, but I think some
Yeah.
people might take it as that.
Yeah, because I don't really know where Garland kind of fits on the political spectrum.
It's probably a big old Hollywood lefty, isn't he?
Yeah. I don't know. But no, like as I was saying, I like him like very much as a writer. Like I love Sunshine and I love
Well,
Dread.
that's what I was going to say. He's got form for dystopian movies, right?
Yeah.
Like 28 Days
28
Later,
Later,
right?
yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, and apparently like he and Danny Boyle are teaming up to do 28
I was
Years
going to
Later.
ask you that because I heard that they were doing 28 Years Later, but I hadn't looked up to see if he was involved.
Yeah, so he's writing and Boyle is directing. So like,
Wow.
that's like, you know, sign me up. That sounds great.
All right. Was he involved in the second one?
I don't know because
I don't think he was,
haven't-
right?
I haven't seen the second one.
I've seen it. It's okay.
Yeah, that's basically what I've heard people say. So
Yeah.
it's been on my watch list for a long time, but I just haven't got around to it.
Like it's got some great scenes, but as a whole, it's kind of not as coherent.
In
It was tough to follow that movie up.
Is
Though.
Killian in that one?
I don't even remember. I don't think he is. But no, I have no idea. It's been so long since I've seen it. I just
Yeah.
remember Robert Carlyle being in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I know Boyle doesn't direct that one, I don't
No,
believe.
no, I don't think he did.
So yeah, so did we miss any of other his titles? Like he's done a lot of stuff with Boyle, and then he like the word is that he pretty much ghost directed Dread
Oh, did he?
when it came out. Like
Oh, interesting.
so I think he was clashing.
Dread is underrated, I think. It doesn't get the love it deserves. I think we've talked about Dread before on an old podcast.
I think we were talking
talking
on
about
the
the
Dune
raid.
episode where we were saying movies that we really wanted a sequel to.
Right, yes, that's very true. Yeah, it did come up for that. But I think we were talking about what was the action I think it was the Argyle episode when we were talking about fight scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about the raid and how it kind of took
Oh yeah,
took
they're
Dread's
pretty much
Thun-
the same
took Dread's
movie.
Thunder a bit, maybe.
Well, it's just such an easy thing to do, like just set something in.
It's like one of those.
location.
It's one of those things, right, that happens in Hollywood where two movies that are very similar come
Yeah.
along. And not that they were that similar, but I mean the premise was similar. Like
Yeah.
going up a skyscraper and fighting guys all the way.
Yeah. So I guess we can move on to the question of the week.
Yeah, let's go for it.
So as we're covering Civil War here, and it's like semi-dystopian movie or maybe a full-fledged dystopian one, like we haven't seen it yet, but so we thought that would be the question of the week. So what is your favorite dystopian movie?
Yeah, it's a good one. I think there's a lot. I was doing a bit of research today, and it's like there's a lot that are out there for sure.
So what would your definition of like what is a dystopian?
Yeah, well, that's what I was struggling with a bit because you can kind of there's lots of different things you can think of when you think of dystopian.
Yeah, like I was trying to like, distinguish the difference between like what's a dystopian movie versus what's a
Like
post-apocalyptic movie.
yeah, like a disaster movie.
Yeah. So I was sort of leaning towards like, totalitarian government, like a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
controlled society.
Yeah,
How
that's fair.
about you? Is that kind of the line?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. I was throwing in a bit like post-apocalyptic as well.
Yeah, like they
Because there's so
end
many
up going
because
hand
there's
in
so
hand,
many
yeah.
good ones. But yeah, to be fair, yeah, dystopian
Well, because
could be. You could say it's a little different.
because I was doing a little bit of research as well, and like some of them that were coming up like didn't quite feel right to me. Like The Road was on the list, and I'm like,
Yeah,
well, that's kind of just like that's
Yeah,
that's
it's
about
not
like
really
that's just like a society that doesn't exist anymore.
yeah,
right?
that's what I mean. Like you could go into like zombies and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Which,
Oh, I might be going that way.
like, is that dystopian? I mean, I guess it is. Okay, which zombie movies have you put on the list, Trevor?
Well, so I was thinking of Day of the Dead, which
Day of
is
the Dead.
the third in the George A. Romero
Okay.
Day trilogy, where, and I think that counts as a dystopian one, whereas like the other two are like are really good depictions of like a society falling apart,
Yeah, yeah.
and then that one is like kind of they're living in a military bunker,
Right.
and society ends up just consisting of like the people from the military and the scientists who are trying to find a cure,
Right.
and it's all about kind of just like how all the regular checks and balances are gone now, and society is now just these 10 people living in a bunker together,
Right.
and then it's a constant struggle for control. So that to me is kind of like once it
Okay.
gets political, then
Yeah,
it
that
crosses over into
I'm not seeing that one, but yeah, that sounds like
It's-
that would count.
it's really really good. Like if you like Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead.
I do like them. I've just not seen a lot of them for whatever reason. I don't really know why, but that's definitely something I will go check out. But the top of my list was probably it's one, if not the favorite movie of mine. It's Children of Men.
Oh yeah, Children of Men's so good.
I just love that movie so much. Like straight from the opening scene, it's just like you're in for a ride with that movie.
Yeah. Well, and that's like such a perfect example of like of a dystopian
Yeah,
movie
that's
where it's like
definitely dystopian.
so like some kind of calamity or disaster
Yeah.
has kind of
It's not like it's not
instigated
like a
it, like,
big thing that's destroyed civilization. It's like
yeah, but
civilization is on its ass.
it's just like this rot that's like slowly
Yeah,
turning the civilization onto itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one.
No, yeah, that's
Was-
one of my all-time favorite movies.
Yeah, is that your favorite Cuarón movie?
Yep, yep, it is.
I guess that would be pretty. Like I do like Roma a lot as well.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his overall, to be fair, but I don't know, something about that movie. I don't know, because it's set in England.
Yeah, like
Might be a bit of it.
you're such an England stan.
I know, right? Today, for some reason, I'm like getting all like really into my English roots here.
Yeah, no, that's just such a great movie.
No, I just love it.
So another one that I picked, I think I mentioned before, I'm doing like a 1970s blind spot
Oh yeah.
watch. So like going through like a bunch of 70s movies that I hadn't seen before.
Okay, I think I might know which one you're going for here.
And so I had a couple I kind of just want to rattle off that
Okay.
I've either watched or rewatched. So recently watched Logan's Run, which I
Yes,
think is
that was on my list. I remember that. Michael York, right?
yeah, it's just you know, and it's like it's a pretty corny movie,
Yeah,
right? But it's
like I've not seen that for years and years, but I remember watching and like, yeah, it is very corny and silly and whatnot,
Yeah.
but like the concept is so great.
yeah, but it does so well. Like, people in that society are just so brainwashed that they just like they willfully go and
Yeah.
go and die in these public executions, right?
It's like a proper science fiction.
Yes,
That's why I like it.
and then I also recently just saw Death Race 2000
Oh,
for the first time.
I've not seen that.
Just like it's a Corman.
Did they remake that?
Yeah, they remade that with
I
Statham.
might have seen the remake, a bit of the remake.
Yeah, I saw the remake too. They have like power ups and stuff, and then they drive over.
It's like a video.
freaking
It's a
lame.
video game, right?
Yeah, but like the original one is like really legit. Like
Yeah,
they're
it's just like visceral people crushing into each
well, yeah, they're racing across the country, and like it's a total like totalitarian society. The president's like totally corrupt,
right?
and these racers get points for running over pedestrians. Like it's really insane, and
Nice.
it's got Sly Stallone in like a really early
Oh,
role
really? I had
before
no idea. I
Rocky.
had no idea who was in it.
Yeah,
Oh, it's interesting.
and the lead character's name is what the heck's his name? It's like
It's got to be something.
something
amazing.
Dr. Frankenstein or something like that. Yeah.
Talking of that kind of thing, the Running Man.
Yeah, that was on my list
The
too.
Running Man is. Are they remaking that?
Yeah,
Did
so
they remake it? Did I miss it?
Edgar Wright is currently remaking
No.
it,
Oh wow,
which
that's crazy.
very interesting choice for him because he's not really done something quite like that before.
Unless they just makes like an Edgar Wright version of it.
Put
I
Simon Pegg in
can't
it.
even imagine what that would be like.
Yeah. No, well, apparently he was thinking about doing Baby Driver 2 for a long time before
Oh, yeah?
that ended up
Baby
like,
Driver 2. Wow.
but no, so that a remake.
I got a soft spot for the Arnie one though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's corny as hell, but
Gonna reach down your throat and pull up your goddamn spine.
he's got some great lines in it.
That's great. Well, and there's so many like great themed villains in that one too. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I guess like the wrestling fan, and
Well, that's what
gotta
it is,
love
right?
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
like it's all
exactly.
dazzle dazzle.
Basically what it was. Just like Arnie shouting out one-liners,
Yeah.
fighting these crazy characters.
Did you read the book?
I didn't read the book, but I heard the book was a lot
Like darker,
like
right?
dark.
Yeah.
Real dark.
Yeah, this one it's pretty lame, but no, yeah, I don't know if it's like a remake of the movie or if it's like a going back to the book
Right.
basics. I would imagine probably more leaning towards the book,
Oh,
like
yeah.
thinking for. Well, you know what?
You-
With Edgar Wright, like he really go either way. Like he could really lean into the camp
Right.
of it,
Yeah.
which the Arnie one did. Or he could go dark again. Like he seems to be wanting to have a bit of a departure from his earlier stuff.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting to see which way he goes with that, though.
Yeah,
He must have some sort of idea to take that project on.
yeah.
But yeah, sticking with like the '80s action stuff, Demolition Man.
Oh yeah. You know, is
Love-
that
love a
80s
bit
or
of that
90s? I think that might be early.
Oh yeah,
90s.
you're probably right. But
Yeah.
80s action stars, I guess.
Yeah.
We've carried on into the '90s.
Yeah, I guess that shows that there's lots of good like corny dystopian movies as well. Like they're all not all dark.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that's such
I love
a
it. I
great
love a bit of Demolition Man though. I feel like because that was like a daft action movie, but like just under the surface, there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on in that movie.
Well, it's such an interesting script, like delivered like
It's like
with slapstick
it's like
humor.
they snuck a really interesting concept movie into like the shell of a generic action movie, which but no, I love that. I love that one.
And then I guess
Any more? Got any more? What
uh
are we missing? Oh, what about Soylent Green?
oh yeah, sorry, that was another one I wanted to mention for my
Soylent Green's a good one.
But
Yeah, that's the one I thought you were going to bring up when you said you watching the 70s, because that's a great
I actually haven't like seen that one in like 20 years.
No, me too. I haven't seen that for a long, long time.
And I knew like the twists kind of going into it, which I think most people.
I don't think I did when I first saw it.
Oh, you're lucky. Like
I remember thinking, like, I remember being amazed by it and just shouting Soylent Green as people, randomly at people.
Well, spoiler.
Yeah.
But like
Spoiler for Soylent Green.
It's been parodied so many times.
That's the thing.
Right? Like it would be tough to spoil that one.
Yeah.
Because like even Futurama has like Soylent Cola.
Does it? That's pretty good.
Yeah, the joke is like Fry asks, "Oh, is it any good?" And Leela says, "It differs from person to person."
Futurama's so good.
Yeah. And that's pretty much a dystopia that they're kind of living in. Like Richard Nixon's president.
Future dystopia. Nixon's head in a jar.
So I was trying to kind of avoid saying movies that I had already mentioned when we're doing this list, and I think I mentioned Mad Max: The Road Warrior before, but
yeah.
So I'll shout out.
Does that fit your?
I'll shout out. That's why I'm shouting out Fury Road,
right?
Because that is a dystopian society that
Very true.
exists around them trying to get at the water. So I think that's more of a dystopia than
that was on my list actually. Excited for Furiosa as well. I'm really interested to see what they do with that.
Yeah. No, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, though. I was annoyed for a long time that he wasn't just doing Charlize Theron as the character, kind of going back to. And I'm so hesitant about prequels.
Me too. I know what you mean. Like, it's tough to do them well and have the stakes there when you know that she's obviously not going to die and certain characters are obviously not going to die.
And like, I'm guessing she's going to lose her arm at some point.
Some people probably are going to die because they weren't in Fury Road.
Yeah, because is the movie the premise that this is how she gets part of Immortan Joe's crew?
I guess so.
Because like it's like,
I mean, he's from the trailer at least. Like he's in it.
He's in it. Okay.
Yeah, he's in the trailer.
It's just such like a bummer that like we know that she's just gonna, be in this like terrible guy's like under his control for like 20 years or whatever. Like it's.
That's like you say. That's a tough thing with prequels. Like where they have to end up.
Yeah.
So it's just like getting there. You're kind of like, all right, well, what's the point?
Yeah. But you know what? Everyone, when the first trailer for Fury Road came out, everyone said, "Oh, this looks terrible. Like it's gonna be a total bomb." And then like
that's the thing.
Proved everybody wrong.
That's
so
the thing about it is like
give Miller the benefit of the doubt.
Does it really matter if you know like how it ends up? Because it's still gonna just be a wild ride, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm just here for seeing Chris Hemsworth just go totally gonzo and just be let off the leash.
That Hemsworth's gonna be in that.
Yeah. Like, have you not seen the trailer? His character.
I've been avoiding.
His character looks like he's just going to be totally mental.
Is he playing Immortan Joe?
No, but I think he's supposed to be like the bullet farmer, maybe.
Okay,
like that's the rumor.
That's pretty cool.
That's the rumor because
he should do more stuff like that.
Like there's a lot of bullets and stuff. But yeah, he's definitely he's the main antagonist. It seems like I feel like Immortan Joe's just going to be in it a little bit.
Yeah,
but that's just me guessing. To be fair.
So how do you feel about the Hunger Games? I feel like we might have
what about like the
already.
Scorched?
Oh, the Maze Runner ones?
Maze
Runner. You know what? I've only seen the first two.
Me too.
But I really liked them. I thought they're pretty solid.
Yeah.
Like especially the first one it's a really cool.
Yeah, I remember really liking the first one and then watching the second one and being into it a bit, but being like, yeah, this is kind of going into sort of generic, a bit more generic YA stuff. Yeah. So I kind of dropped it after that. But no, that first movie was decent.
Yeah. Like in like the maze itself was really cool.
Right.
Cool
yeah, really,
in it.
really cool designs and stuff. Definitely. And like good enough of a mystery, right, to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened once the mystery was broken down a bit. I was a bit like, yeah, I can like, you take or leave this now.
Yeah. I like the Hunger Games movies too, but then
I dropped off on that as well.
they lose all momentum when they're not like actually like in the Hunger Games
Hunger
anymore.
Games,
Like when it's just them versus the, totalitarian society, then
Yeah,
it's a lot
I
less
kind of got a
interesting.
little bored of them, to be honest. Like you say, after
Yeah.
the first couple of movies, I was a bit like, still doing this, are we?
Then I don't know, what are there other ones we should shout out? Like Blade Runner was on my list.
Yeah, Blade Runner was definitely on mine.
Um,
Hold on, I wrote some down, so let me see if we're missing any big glaring ones here.
like I feel like I might have mentioned Blade Runner before too. I'm gonna try as we make more of these lists to like try not to make them feel so boring because there are like 20 or 30 movies in my like personal list that I just love and could fit into almost any category.
Yes, that's fair.
But
It's
no,
like this one again.
but Blade Runner, like trying to think like if that counts as like a dystopia, like because
I mean, it seems
there's
to be, right?
environmental
Like,
disasters on Earth, and that's everyone's pretty much like abandoning Earth, and then society's just decaying.
yeah, I think that's the what. Like, how do you determine what's just the future that's a bit shit, or it's dystopian future?
Yeah,
Because you could say the same about like Ready Player One. Do you see Ready Player
yeah,
One?
yeah,
And that's like a really that's actually pretty good dystopian future, actually. But that's not
It's
what
just
the
like,
movie's really about as much.
well,
I
it's
mean,
kind of like
gets it.
this terrible corporation kind
Yeah.
of controls everything and kind of runs like unchecked.
Yeah.
So I think that's close enough that that could count.
Yeah, I know. Like he lives in that really shitty like where the houses are just stacked on
Yeah,
top
like the
of each other.
ghetto.
The stacks, I think they call them actually.
Yeah. I'm not that crazy about that movie. Like
Well, I really like the book.
Yeah, the book's
I got sucked into the book hard just because it was like hitting every one of my
yeah.
like nerd nostalgia
Well,
things.
The book is just like a brilliant idea for
Yeah.
a nerdy guy to say
Oh,
like
yeah.
how can I combine all my interests into one and then
Yep, just
sell it.
and wrap it around a fairly generic story
Yeah.
when you get right down to it, but an interesting enough like mystery, like story thriller to keep it pushing forward.
Yeah, and it's Ernst Klein, I think the
Yeah,
author's name is. Like, yeah, he's not the strongest writer,
No,
but
and
like
I read his follow-up book as well, which was fine, but it was just a Last Starfighter ripoff that was just basically just.
oh yeah. Like I think I'd heard about that. Man, Last Starfighter is really good too. But it's not nothing to do with this.
Is that dystopian? Can we
Is that
get it
dystopian?
somehow?
Yeah.
It's in the future. It's not. Okay, let's see.
Do you have anything else on your list
So
there?
V for Vendetta.
Oh yeah.
That's not a bad one.
Yeah, when I was
It's
like
very much about fighting the government.
when I was like 16, I'm like, oh, this is my movie.
Yes. Well, I really liked the book as well. I'm a big Alan Moore fan, so I was big into that. Did you ever see Snowpiercer?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I haven't seen it, but I watched the TV show. Well, some of it.
I watched a couple episodes. Yeah, definitely check out the movie. It's really, really different.
Yeah, I really wanted to. I think I just couldn't find it at the time, but I'm gonna have to go back and see
You
it.
see, well, I watched it on Netflix years ago. It's a Bong Joon-ho movie, one of his English ones.
Okay. That's Chris Evans, right? Isn't that?
Yes.
Well, okay, what about A Clockwork Orange?
Yeah, no, and I think that counts as well because
It's definitely
it's like set in near future and like
Yeah.
gangs are kind of taking over, and then you have a terrible government with a terrible idea. But like it it doesn't seem like so like it's kind of like Civil War. Like at the time, it didn't seem like so far into the future.
Yeah. I know what you mean? Okay, should do a fire round. I got some listed down here.
Sure.
Okay, what do we got here? Terminator.
Yes.
The future bits of the Terminator.
So is that dystopia though? Like or is it more just like
Oh, it's more like the robots have destroyed everything. So I don't know if that counts. I mean, there's people fighting against them.
that's what I think like
That's what I mean, like
post-apocalypse stuff does kind of get a little
and like alien invasion stuff. I don't really know if counts because because like Edge of Tomorrow could maybe say that, but that's more just an alien invasion war movie. I just had that in my mind because I watched it again recently, and
That's good.
It's such a great movie. Waterworld.
Oh, Waterworld. Okay,
Waterworld?
yeah. No, I think that counts.
Yeah, and
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
I'm sticking with your man there, The Postman. You ever see The Postman?
Is Kevin Costner my man?
Yeah, his name escaped my mind for a second there.
Okay. It's like, did I mention that I like Kevin
you know, you
Costner
man.
at some point? Well, I do quite like Kevin Costner.
That's like an Irish way of talking. You're a man.
You're a man, yeah.
Which means the guy.
Yeah, no, I like both those movies.
I don't think I ever watched The Postman all the way through.
I think it's worth of it. Like
It got really
like 3 hours.
It got really
long.
shit on, and I think harshly. I think.
Well, it was definitely like a glamour project, but most of his stuff was in that
Right.
kind of era. Like
Yeah.
I think that was his immediate follow-up to Dances with Wolves. Like he just won Best
Right.
Director, and he could kind of do whatever he wanted.
Right.
But no, I think it's still solid. Like it's a commitment to watch it.
Yeah. I think that's probably why I never watched it all the way through.
Yeah. He has 2 movies coming out this year, eh?
Are they both westerns?
Yeah, it's there, and
I
they're
think I
sequels to each other.
I
So
think I remember hearing like he was on this whole western tear where he was like had this whole plan for these movies.
I'm trying to think of the name. It's like Deep Horizon, maybe.
Are they
Something.
filming them like back to back then?
Yeah, they're both already filmed, and they're both coming out this year. Like
Oh, right.
like
both
6
now.
months apart from each other.
That's really weird.
Yeah, and apparently they're very expensive too.
I feel
So
like they just made a really, really long movie and we're like, okay, we'll just put them out.
well, like 'cause I think like everyone I know watches Yellowstone.
Yeah, they're just riding that
And so
wave,
yeah,
right?
it's exactly like that kind of thing. Like, but
Cowboys are in again.
I don't know if that's going to translate to people going to see it in the theater though.
I don't know.
People used to watching Yellowstone at home. Did you ever watch that one?
I did. I was big into Yellowstone. But then I think the latest season or the season before, I kind of was just like, yeah, I'm kind of done with this now.
I never ended up watching it because like too many people over 60 kept recommending it
It's
to me.
definitely very like the old ways are the best.
Yeah.
But it's very like it's very brutal. It's almost like crime family, like that kind of movie.
Yeah. No, it does seem like it does seem interesting, but there's so many spin-off series and stuff now for that.
I've heard some of those are very good. Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren one. I would be into watching that. But yeah, and the thing about Yellowstone is there's a lot of all the characters in it are just horrible people. They're just all very, very horrible people.
Yeah.
And it's like I was saying before, I think some people don't realize that and think they are the heroes.
Yeah,
and it's like, no. These are all very horrible people. You should not be idolizing these people. So there's only so much of that I can watch where I'm like, I've had enough of these people now.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot with TV shows, especially because you spend so much time
Right.
with characters
Yeah.
and you kind of forget that you're not supposed to be sympathizing with them.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem when you don't have, if you don't have that protagonist in a show that is a good person. I guess I'm
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm trying to really pick my words here, but
Well, say like
it's like if your whole show is surrounded about people who are horrible, then it's hard to forget. Like it's like same thing with The Sopranos, right? Like everyone loves Tony Soprano.
well, I was actually going to use that as an example. Like, do people like, because people can sympathize with Tony Soprano because he shows vulnerability and
Right,
stuff. But
exactly.
do people say like, yeah, I love Tony, he's a badass? Like
Some people probably do.
the way that like people watch Breaking Bad, and I feel like a lot of people are missing the point in that you're watching someone become a bad person, and like by the end of the show, you're not supposed to sympathize with him at all.
No, yeah, people think he's a badass.
And people think he's a badass, like right, but like and like the show does have it both ways.
Exactly. I mean, they know what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can watch. That's why that's the same with Yellowstone, right? There's a lot of people who watch it who are just like, "Woohoo, cowboys! Look at these guys taking no shit from these yuppies."
Yeah.
But in reality, it's like, no, these are criminals who are murdering people for just because they want to be rich and hold
Yeah.
on to their land. Like that's terrible. Okay, I got a last one to hit on here.
Okay.
Escape from New York.
Oh yeah, you know what? I was gonna say that one, but I think I mentioned that in my
I think
sequel
we've talked
discussion.
about
But
it before as well.
I think it's a great shout out, right? Because like
Yeah,
literally
love it.
the president orders him to go into New York, right?
Exactly.
No, the first one they're rescuing the president.
Oh, you're right. Yes, you're right.
Because Donald.
Is it the president or just some
No,
politician?
it's Donald Pleasance, like
Okay.
famous British actor Donald Pleasance playing the American president. For some reason, his plane goes down in New York. The president is British.
I feel like if you have giant walled off cities that are just like lost. Like, don't fly your presidential plane over it.
Yeah, what the hell are you thinking?
Like, who the fuck planned that route?
And it's the second one, Escape from L.A., where
Yeah.
the president is like a Puritan and
That one's
he
a bit
orders
soft.
everything. Yeah, that one's not very good.
When he surfs at one point down there.
Yeah, he surfs and he plays basketball.
Yeah, I remember loving it at the time when I was younger and being like, fuck it, Snake Plissken, he's cool, man. Look at him surfing. But like, oh my word, it's brutal.
I watched that for the first time like 5 years ago. I'm like,
Oh, I
this
can't
is
imagine that does not hold up at all.
What are they doing to my boy Snake?
Yeah, the first one was so visceral and just like, the second one just was like, they put that action movie shine on it, and it was just like, oh, they're trying to make him an action hero now,
Yeah.
which he was, but they neutered him a bit.
Well, I think like we rattled off quite a few. But definitely let us know what you all think. What's your favorite dystopian movie of all time, and what do you consider to be a dystopian movie?
Yep.
You can let us know at firstlookfinalwordpod@gmail.com, and we're on all the socials. So reach out to us. Let us know what your favorite dystopian movie is, and then also what you thought about Civil War.
Yeah. And while you're at it, why don't you get on there and give us a review?
Yeah. Well, as long as it's a good one. I like it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
We're open to all feedback, though. Just make sure it's 5 stars, and then you can give you bad feedback in the comments.
You know what? I think that's a fair compromise.
Like,
5 stars. These guys.
We gotta work the algorithm somehow here, guys. Come on.
Exactly. So, we're about 1 minute out. What are your expectations going into this one, Pete?
My expectations are high. I'm expecting it to be hardcore and sort of very, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the word, but I'm expecting it's really good. Like I say, I'm a little worried. I'm gonna feel like I'm watching the news and just be upset about that.
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping nobody like yells woohoo when like someone does something horrible.
Well, I've been trying to stay away from reviews as much as I can. But
I've not seen any either.
The one thing and it's getting very positive reviews.
Yeah.
The one thing I saw was anxiety ridden, right? Like, it's
imagine that's gotta be the case.
so that'll be interesting. And like, we're going to the theater, right? So we'll be trapped for about an hour and 50 minutes with this one.
I think the one saving grace is that we are in Canada, so it's not like it's
So
not like it could ever happen here, right?
there's a whole border to prevent that sort of stuff.
Well, I should be careful what I say.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we're at the theater now. If you are a new listener, so we're gonna head in, watch the movie, then come back and give you spoiler-free immediate reactions for our immediate thoughts after having just left, and then we'll also tell you the best time to go pee.
Yeah, we need that pee report.
Yeah. So, see you guys in a few seconds for you, a couple hours for us.
I'd love to know if anybody like makes a note of the pee report and actually uses it.
Yeah.
Please tell us if you do.
Do you use the pee report? Well, I'm gonna. Even if like people say they don't use the pee report, I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, we know it's important whether you guys do or not.
Yeah, so artists not appreciating their own time.
Right? Years from now, people will be going back and writing down all these pee reports.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Okay, well, talk to you guys after the break.
Yep, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Bye.
Welcome back, everyone. We're back from seeing Civil War.
Yeah, so
seemed to be a brisk 1 hour 45 minutes. Was it?
I really enjoyed that because coming into it, I thought that it might be like a 2.5 hour one or whatever. Right? Although I did see with the runtime.
Yeah, I hadn't actually
did
checked.
feel like
I hadn't actually checked the runtime, but no, it went by a real clip.
All right, so Pete.
Yes.
Everyone's dying to know, what are your thoughts on Civil War?
Oh yeah, I'm still trying to like formulate my thoughts, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, this one, for all the movies we've seen so far for this podcast, I feel like I don't have an immediate solid opinion,
right?
But even though I just walked out of it, I would say, I think like it's solid, well made. I don't know how I feel about it. Like,
yeah, that's exactly how I feel. I'm like, it was definitely really well made, well done. Like I said, it was non-stop. It was like really edgy, gripping stuff and a lot of good sequences. But yeah, I feel like just the whole and this is what I was saying going in, right? The whole sort of premise of the thing, it just didn't sit well with me. And I get that's probably I think that's the point he was trying to make. I think he was purposely doing it that way to make people feel that way. I think that's what the plan was. I think make it, because it could have been any war movie, right? Really, it's
Yeah.
kind of how it was made. But it really made it difficult to be like who you're supposed to be rooting for. Like there isn't a good guy, and it's just like horrible. And having it like set, it's just yeah, I don't know. It just really, and I feel like that might have been the point, but it just really made me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I was wondering going into it, like what like the political message
Yeah,
was going to be. And when this movie was first announced, like people were kind of sort of like making fun of like the map that came out,
right,
because
right,
you have like the United States, and then you have the Florida Alliance, which is like Florida and like a bunch of like the middle belt.
right. Yeah, yeah,
And then you have the Western forces, which are Texas and California, but
yeah.
no states in between. So like it makes no sense whatsoever.
No,
But after seeing that, I think he did that on purpose, because he made it like a three-side war, which
right. Yeah.
like they never really explain what each side wants
No. Yeah.
and what every side is trying to get at, because I think like he wasn't trying to go for like, Republican versus Democrat, though like there's a bit of that subtext in there. And
Yeah. I think that's it, right? Like it never really clarified what government it was and what, like you say, what people's objectives were.
yeah.
I think it was just, and I think that's the point, right? I think that's probably another thing he was trying to say. Like, it doesn't really matter, when everything just goes to shit like that. Like,
Yeah, so it's sort of like murky on purpose.
yeah, exactly. He didn't take a stand either way, really. I think he's just trying to show. Like, it seemed to me like it was supposed to be like a cautionary tale, which I think why made me feel bad about it, because it's like that's exactly what it would be like, and that's exactly like, it's not crazy to think that could happen, because a lot of times people are like, oh, that could never happen, but it's like, no, it could easily happen, and this is what it would look like.
Right.
So I just but like at the same time, and I think this is what I was saying going in, it's like, I don't think people are going to realize that that's what it's supposed to be. Like, I feel like a lot of people would be like, yeah, that'd be mint, that'd be great if we could go in and like, look how cool it was when they stormed the lighthouse. Well, I suppose we're not in spoilers yet, but
Yeah. Well, I think they kind of show that in the trailer.
yeah.
But during the opening segments of the movie, it just shows Nick Offerman as the president.
Like,
And
clean shaven, which really threw me off, and not like Nick Offerman, clean shaven. It just looked weird.
yeah, and he's like sort of like a Trump like figure.
Yeah,
Like we can kind of call that out right now. Although like he's not like so similar to Trump that
No,
it's like distracting.
It's not a Trump parody.
Yeah, and it's not really doing like a one-to-one sort of thing. And I think that's another reason why the sides are so murky.
Yeah.
So I think he's not trying to just do like, all right, this is what's going to happen if we keep going down the road we're going on. These are the two sides that are fighting. But anyways, when it kind of opens, and I was thinking like, all right, is this movie going to focus on, this is the dangerous path we're going to go down if you follow like charismatic leaders or whatever.
Yeah.
But the movie's not really interested in that at all.
No, it does. It like you say, other than that really small bit at the start, it really doesn't concentrate on that. It just concentrates on the journalist characters and just basically being in it, right? Like the overarching things of what's going on at the top level, it's never really explored. It's all just about on the ground. What's it like? What would it be like?
Yeah. So like,
Which is, I guess, the point of war journalism as a whole, right? To show what it actually means.
well, that's kind of what I'm struggling with, like at the end, and we're trying not to get into spoilers here, but like following the end, like I kind of like I get like the journalism arc, but I'm still trying to sort out like what exactly the point he was trying to make with the Civil War itself.
Yeah,
Like,
I know what you mean. Yeah, I don't really understand either. Like that's I think that's what I'm still struggling with. Like, I don't really understand what he was trying to say.
yeah, because it's
Super. I mean, I kind of do. Like I say, I think it's supposed to be a cautionary tale and whatnot, but I don't know. It just seems like It's hard, right? It's hard to figure out. It's going to be one of those ones that you sit with maybe for a while.
Well, and there's a message in there about like, not losing your humanity
Yeah.
and caring about people. But aside from that, like it's a weirdly like apolitical film.
Yeah,
Like,
right. Surprisingly so.
So I found that very surprising.
Yeah, it seems to be not political at all, but more just about the horrors of war in general, really.
Yeah. So like it really becomes like less about the American experience, and it's
True.
like very universal. That's all aside from like the one scene with Jesse Plemons, which was very much like rooted in American politics.
Yeah, I really liked that scene, and I was kind
That
of
was the standout for me.
yeah, and I was a bit upset that they put that in the trailer. Which
Yeah.
I mean, you got you got Plemons, you're gonna put him in your trailer,
Yeah.
but yeah, I kind of feel like they spoiled that one a little bit.
Yeah. But no, for me that whole like 10-minute sequence was probably the highlight of the film.
Just so tense.
Although at the last the last act of the movie like basically just never stops. And,
Yeah.
quite exciting though. I would still say like I like that Clement scene was great. Like he's quite often the best thing in any movie that he's in.
It really is, man. You gotta make that Plemonade.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. You got Jesse Plemons, you can make Plemonade. Yeah, so I guess like we've had 5 minutes now. Like, do you have like an overall ranking or rating you give
I
the
don't
movie?
know. I really don't know. I feel like you could give this like 5 stars. You give it 1 star depending on how you're feeling and who you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's really hard for me to give it a rating.
Yeah, I think that I like it a little less than Annihilation.
Yeah.
But like I still enjoyed it quite a lot overall.
What
Like, I think it's definitely worth going out to see in the theaters.
What do you think about the performances? Because that was your worry going in.
Well, so I think I liked all of the central performances, but my issue with Garland was, the dialogue, two people sitting
Right.
and talking, and I think that was my major issue for this movie.
Yeah,
It's like
there was a fair amount of that.
a lot of like, I would say pretty awkward scenes of people talking, and I don't think
Yeah.
like, I don't think good awkward. Like,
Right.
I don't need acting to be naturalistic. I don't think that's always the goal, but I think there was just some like uncanniness to how people were
Yeah,
talking
there
to each
was,
other, and I
yeah.
don't think it was on purpose.
No, there was a few scenes in particular where I was like, oh, are they trying to set up that like something's gonna happen here? And it's like, no, they weren't doing that at all. It was just a really weird scene.
Yeah, like because there were a couple instances where I thought like there was gonna be like a sexual dynamic that would
Right.
that would happen.
That's what I mean. I feel like that exact scene that kind of just like I feel like that was a weird scene that didn't get across what I was trying to get across, maybe, because what it did get across didn't seem to be anything to do with the plot of the movie or of any import to any character in the film.
Yeah, and there's quite a lot of character moments where it's two characters talking, and then they're like, well, why don't we get to know each other a little bit better? Let's tell each other about our backstories. And like, there's not really like a good payoff for that. Like you can see them bonding and
Yeah, I
whatnot,
mean, I
but
guess they were
there's
just
more efficient ways to do that in a movie.
I guess they're just trying to flesh them out a bit, but
So I don't have like a really accurate P report, though I
No.
would say the first half of the movie is filled with lots of those moments where characters are kind of just having
yes,
a bit of inconsequential back and forth, and there's lots of good opportunities to go to the bathroom.
there
for
is.
this
Yeah,
one.
don't go to the bathroom in the last like
Yeah.
15, 20 minutes.
Oh. So anything before the car driving up from behind them, I'd say
Yeah.
you're fine to go to the bathroom, but after that,
if you hit that point, you waited too long.
yeah. Oh, and any other like acting standouts for you? Like I thought Dunst was great.
Yeah, I thought she was all right. I feel like she didn't show like a huge amount of range. It was kind of just like being sort of dead inside person.
Yeah, though to be honest, she nailed it.
But she did well, yeah.
Yeah,
But
she
it
did
was just
great.
like Is like, is she doing this well, or is she just like not acting?
Or is that what she's like? No, I thought she was quite good.
She gets a lot of stick, right, as an actress, and I thought she did a perfectly fine job.
Yeah. Well, what are some of your favorite Dunst performances? Like, are you a fan of hers or
Not really, no.
no?
No.
I quite like her a bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What's your favorite Dunst performance?
Um.
There was not enough upside down kissing in this movie.
Yeah. Zero.
That's-
I like Melancholia.
oh yeah, I've not seen that one actually.
Oh, it's really good.
Yeah. Did you see the Virgin Suicides?
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
Yeah. And then well, both her and Clemens are really good in The Power of the Dog.
Oh, I've not seen that one either.
Yeah.
Maybe
And
I just haven't seen
they're
any
married
good
in real life.
Oh, are they? I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, she's like 8 years older than him and stuff.
Mhm.
Like, cause he's like fairly young, although he doesn't
look old, yeah.
like he looks just as old as she is. But no, I thought they were both great. The
I thought the young girl was pretty good.
yeah, the young girl was good.
She looked super young though.
I know she looked like
Because at the
16.
start I was like, that is a teenager, and then they're like, oh, she's 24. I was like, is she though?
Well, and that's why like there's like those couple of scenes that we're talking about. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to get into spoilers here. So
Oh no, yeah. Maybe we should just move on.
all right, so yeah, before we log off or head over to spoilers, make sure to let us know what your favorite dystopian movies are at firstlookfinalwordpod@gmail.com, or any other feedback you want to give us. And then if you once you see this movie, come back, check in at this point, and then
And I think I would say, even though I've been hard to sort of nail down how I actually feel about it, I think I would say you should definitely see it. I think it's definitely worth seeing.
yeah,
It's definitely going to make you think and and think about how you feel about it. But it's not a waste. It won't be a waste of your time.
no, definitely not. And it's certainly a cinematic experience.
Oh,
if
for sure.
Anything else?
Yeah.
I would say as a director, as a director of action, like Garland is really showing his skills in this one.
Oh yeah, he did a great job. Yeah, it was. It's not. Not the filmmaking was excellent. That's not what I'm struggling with at all. It's more the themes and the overall concept.
And I would say he is still a weak director in directing dialogue. Because and I know I said that. I was thinking that going in, but did you feel that too?
Well, it's kind of strange for a writer, though, right? You think the writer would be the dialogue, he'd be all over the dialogue. I was looking out for it more because you had mentioned it on the way.
Sorry.
And I didn't struggle with it. There was one actress in particular that I was like, why did they hire her? She was like a block of wood, but it was such a small part. That
Is it the
well, I won't give it away, but yes, it is that.
Yeah, she was terrible. Like, I don't know what the heck that was.
Yeah. So that was the only time where I was like, oh, like that is terrible.
I feel like she's like someo's friend.
Yeah, it's a nepo baby.
Yeah, it's like that.
Alex
That was
Garland
really
kid.
bad. Did she think that there was rehearsal or something? Like it was like a table read? It was bad.
Crazy when that one, like, she only had a couple lines, but when she was there, I was like, is she going to be in this more now? Because that was awful.
Yeah. But that's kind of what I mean. Like, I feel like as a director, you'd have to recognize that, oh, like we didn't get it, or like this person's not working at all. Like we have to swap them out for somebody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe it's a nepo baby thing.
Maybe. Or she was cute as well, so just maybe that was it.
That's good bait.
Yeah, but other than her, like, none of the acting really. But like, it didn't stand out to me as being terrible. Even the scenes you've mentioned where it was just people talking, I was like, yeah, it's just fine.
The main guy, I can't remember the character's name.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
I wasn't crazy about his performance.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if it was just a choice or it was by design, but yeah, I found his character very difficult to get a read on. And I don't know if that was intentional.
Yeah,
which maybe it was. But yeah, I didn't really, a lot of stuff he was doing, I wasn't really getting.
Well, I think should be time to head into spoiler talk.
Yeah,
so
let's do it.
Spoilers bother you? Turn it off. Spoilers don't bother you, or if you've seen the movie, stick around. Okay.
Yeah.
So, spoilers.
Yeah.
So
it's a klaxon.
What did you? maybe skip to the end.
Right.
What did you think about the storming the White House stuff?
I thought it was very well done, very intense, and very like visceral. But I kind of felt, and this is what I was a bit worried about. It seemed like it was veered into like this is just like masturbatory, military stuff. Right?
Yeah.
As set in the Capitol, we're gonna blow up all the, and I think that was the point he was making. Right? Even when the guy, one of the journalists, is like, "Oh, it was landing on the Pentagon. It was amazing."
Yeah.
Like people love that shit, and I think that's like a lot of that was like blurred with like a lot of the press, like especially like say the main guy, like he was like well into it, right? Like he was going on about getting hard when it was. And like high-fiving the guys and stuff after they murdered the freaking soldiers. I was like, I think they try to blur that line about like people who get off on that shit.
I know, like, well,
It's actually main characters doing that.
yeah, you're right that it certainly came up a bit, but like, I don't know. I don't know if that's like a one of the main themes he was wanting to explore, but like
I don't know if it is, but that's my worry is like, was he trying to say that because he didn't paint them out to be wrong for doing that,
no,
and like by the end of the movie, like it seemed to me that by the end of the movie it was like it was painted as very obviously President is the bad guy,
yeah,
but I was like, but they didn't really.
no, like
They didn't show us that was the case.
we didn't know enough.
So how do we know what's going on?
We didn't know enough about him. There was like one newscast that said, you know, it's his third term, so we're like, oh, okay, like he's a despot. He's staying for.
Yeah, and then
he's
it's like
obviously taking over
a
a
couple
coup or
of throwaway
something.
lines when like
He's dropping bombs on U.S. citizens.
head into like Gaddafi at one point and stuff like that.
But like we didn't really get a sense of are the other sides in this better
Exactly,
than him, right? So it's hard to know if like there's something you're supposed to be rooting for.
Yeah.
And like the movie definitely has an emotional arc. Like, Kirsten Dunst is dead inside, and doing this sort of thing makes you dead inside, and then like reconnecting with that girl brought back her humanity. Then she feels scared at certain times because she's scared that girl's gonna die, and then she dies for her basically at the end, right?
Sacrifices herself.
And then the movie like just keeps going, and then they go to the president's office and shoot him dead in cold blood, and I felt abrupt. I felt nothing.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what we were supposed to feel in that moment, whether that was supposed to be a moment of catharsis.
Yeah, I didn't feel that way, right? And maybe that's what I mean. Like maybe that's the point. Like I think like building up to this, then it happened. It's just like, oh, I guess that doesn't really change anything, and it's just like great.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it just kind of makes me feel like was this project put together because Garland thought that there's a lot of commercial potential in showing like a big battle in DC or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It kind of just seemed like, oh, this is like the fantasy of people who want to overthrow the government. Like this is like this. I can see this being a lot of people's like best ever movie. Like, can you imagine storming the White House and killing the president? It's like a lot of people like want to do that and would love watching this just for that. Yeah. But like part of me is like, that can't be why he made the movie, surely.
I don't, and like I'm trying to wrap my head around like why did he make this movie and what was the point he was trying to make exactly?
Yeah, that's why I really struggled.
I don't know, like it sort of reminds me of Inglourious Bastards. Yeah, like there's a part in that movie, and spoilers for Inglourious Bastards. There's a part of the movie where like they live out the fantasy of like killing Hitler.
Yeah,
like there's an extended shot of like showing those like a guy like blowing away his face.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's at once like very satisfying, and then you also realize that, but like Tarantino had a point, like he's playing a trick on the audience. He's showing like, like I'm showing you a propaganda film that like the Nazis were also watching. You're also just watching this, and like you're implicit in watching this violence or whatever. So like. Can understand like the point that they were trying to make there, and it also was much more satisfying to watch. But I don't know the point that Garland was trying to make with this, with the extended sequence going into the White House. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's what I mean. Like the only thing I can think of is it's supposed to be a cautionary tale, but it wasn't really framed that way.
No,
there was no revelation at the end where people are like, oh shit, maybe this is bad. It was just like, wait, we did it at the end.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess there were maybe with the shot like. like reaction shot. I don't really know.
I don't know. Like I think we are probably just overthinking it. Like I think the way to watch the movie is to sit back and enjoy the ride
Yeah,
because
well, I guess though the young girl reporter, I think her story is supposed to be the central thing, right? Because she starts off like naive and like
emotional, idealistic,
yeah, exactly, and
and then
it's just
she
about her
loses.
losing her
Yeah,
humanity by going through and following, and then by the end, she's just literally like dead inside. Not She doesn't react at all when they shoot the president. She's just taking pictures of her. She doesn't even really like react. I mean, she does when Lee gets killed, but she takes a picture of her, right?
yeah.
And then just moves on.
Yeah, so journalism and war journalism is hard.
Yeah, maybe that's the
It
point.
makes you a jaded person.
Maybe that's the point of the movie he's trying to make, is that war journalism will take your soul away,
Yeah.
but it's very important
It is very
because
important,
people
yeah.
need to see this stuff, and that's what she says, right? That's what Kirsten Dunst's character says. It's like you gotta
And it's up
remove
for
yourself
people
from
to
it and
decide.
let other people decide.
Yeah, so I don't know. Is that the thesis of the movie then?
I
Like,
mean, maybe, but
he's going to show, but yeah,
that's like there's too much else going on that's
it does.
incendiaries for that to be the only
Yeah,
point.
it does seem like it's playing with fire a little bit
Yeah.
because you could come at that movie from any side of the political spectrum and find something that you would you'd like in there.
Which I guess makes sense commercially if you're trying to sell a movie.
But
that makes me very nervous.
Yeah, but that's kind of where I go back to it, is that this just does seem like this is put together as like a commercial enterprise, and like there's nothing that's necessarily wrong with that, but again, playing with matches.
Yeah, I think what I was hoping for was that it would be more overtly anti having a civil war, where it didn't seem to be. It seemed to be a bit pro, let's have a civil war.
Well, I don't know
if you look at it from a certain lens.
Yeah,
I
I don't know if it was pro, but it didn't really hit on the themes of like, these are our brothers, we're fighting fighting each other. Why are we doing this to each other?
Yeah.
And it didn't even really hit too hard on the, these are our differences, that's why we're fighting.
No.
The only glimpse you got from that was the Plemons scene where he says, what kind of American are you?
Exactly, yeah.
But there wasn't really anything else in there for.
No, I really did enjoy them like driving through the states and to go into the small towns and it just being like totally fucking right.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
weird, like God so weird. Like one guy in his house sniping and those two random dudes just outside and they're like, who are you? And they're like, well, we're just trying to kill this guy.
Oh yeah,
It's like so crazy.
some of the visuals in this
Oh,
movie are
man.
just incredible.
Yeah, really.
Like
That's that stuff I really liked. I think it was just the stuff when they get to DC. I think that's where I was just a bit like, I don't know what you're trying to say with all this stuff now. I mean, it's cool. It's really cool and really well done, but I don't know what you're trying to say here.
yeah, I don't know. And maybe he purposely doesn't really
Yeah.
have much to say.
Maybe.
But I'm
I
certain
think it's just too touchy of a subject
Yeah.
to not have a position.
I know what
Like,
you
I
mean.
don't want you can't be sitting on the fence when you're doing that.
Yeah. No, and I don't want to say like it's being irresponsible, but
So
kind of what I'm thinking.
I think that's my whole fear. It's like,
yeah.
don't sensationalize this stuff because people are gonna get into it,
Yeah. But
which is
Yeah.
not his fault. I mean, you can't account for how people are gonna imbibe art, I guess. If you want to get right down to it, but I don't know. I just feel like
well,
when I saw the very first trailer, I was a bit like, oh, that seems like I
It's not the same
might be irresponsible to glorify a civil war right now.
yeah, I thought the same thing. And if you take our theater going experience as a microcosm for the people who would be interested in seeing this movie,
Yeah.
there were about 40 some odd people in the theater. We saw it on the Thursday night. I think there were 4 women.
I was looking around like, well, there's a lot
was-
of middle-aged dudes here.
It was all dudes and like young like frat guys.
Yeah, there was
There
actually.
were two.
Yeah,
Like there was a big discussion that broke up in the bathroom.
yeah. It got people talking for sure.
Yeah, but no, it was a real like male energy
Yeah.
in that movie, which like
Which is interesting because like
Yeah.
the main characters are female.
two women are the main characters, right?
That's female led, you could say.
Yeah,
Yeah, should we get into the guy? Because we were tiptoeing around it a bit before spoilers. But like his character, I really couldn't get a beat on him because it seemed like one minute they were setting him up as like the conscience or the whatever, and then they flip it around, or like he's the good guy, and then they flip it around and almost make him seem like he was nefarious or like that's was like a bad guy. It's like, are we supposed to feel for this guy, or are we supposed to be worried that this guy's not a good guy?
Yeah, his character was very hard to pin down.
Right?
Like, in a span of like 3 minutes, he's like looking at a bunch of carnage and he says, "This is getting me rock hard."
Yeah.
And then he starts like talking to this, 23-year-old girl.
Yeah,
He's like in his mid 40s.
Like that scene, he was definitely making a pass at her, right? That's what that was about, and it
But-
seemed like really like should we be worried? And I think her looking so young didn't help.
Yeah.
Because how old is his character supposed to be? Do you think?
I'd say mid 40s.
Right?
Because he had quite a lot of gray hair.
Because that's like creepy as hell.
Well, he's like,
He's like, "Do you want me to come and stop me
do you want
later?"
me to stay up late with you? And she's like, "No, that's okay." But then like they don't, so they just drop that.
Yeah, I was like,
else
I was like legit worried. Like, is this girl in trouble now? But then they're like, "Oh no, actually, he's fine, and he's just a great guy and was worried about her." And I'm like, "Is he really? I don't really get it."
yeah, I don't know. And then it at times in the clothing store,
Yeah,
it seemed like the two women were having like a flirtation thing, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna go down this way, and then like,
That's
oh,
really
no,
weird, wasn't it?
they're also not going down this road.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There was a lot of like weird subtext going on, and I don't know if it was like a misreading or what. Because I had the exact same thing. I was like, "Are they flirting now?" Like, I'm so confused.
Yeah, I don't know. And then there was I'd say pretty solid performance by that character actor. I can't remember his name, but he pops up in a lot of stuff now.
Yes, I know who you
He's
mean.
in the first Dune movie.
He was in Dune, yeah. He was.
He's the Mentat.
Yeah, what's his name? Forget now. Don't come for me, Dune fans. But he was House Atreides, a Mentat, right?
Yeah. No, and what was his name? Is it Sonny?
Yeah, Sonny. Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought he was good.
I thought he was really good. He was in Beau is Afraid last year.
Oh right, okay.
He's just in like one scene. I think it's the opening scene of the movie, basically, where he's giving Joaquin Phoenix some therapy,
Okay, I've not seen that one.
and there's it's just a really funny scene of like him just like writing down like depressed in big letters and stuff while he's analyzing them. And he's like guilty, and he underlines feels guilty. So it's always nice to see him pop up, and
he was good.
that's a pretty big role.
Yeah, I was sad when they killed him off.
Yeah,
But I mean, his character may as well have been called the guy who's going to get killed.
oh yeah, like you can see that coming from a mile away. I am surprised that Kirsten Dunst was the one who got though. I did think that the girl was gonna die.
Yeah, I don't know how I felt about that. It was a bit like, oh, we don't know how to finish her arc, so we'll just have her die because that'll
Yeah, it's
be dramatic.
well, because you knew as soon as the girl said, would you
Yeah,
film me
yeah.
if
Someone's
I
dying.
died? And she's like, what do you think? And then it shows a scene of Kirsten Dunst taking a picture of Sunny, and then she deletes it.
Yeah,
And so it's showing she has like some character growth.
yeah,
So after that, I'm like, oh, okay, like, she's going to die now because
right.
they're obviously going to go full circle on that somehow.
Yeah, and it was kind of almost like a passing of the torch type thing, where she was like, I'm too jaded and hollow inside to do this now, so you can do it."
When they ended up storming the White House with like 5 soldiers.
Yeah, they did a bit, didn't they? Well, it didn't seem like they had anybody there protecting him either.
I do think like it was very exciting to see, people without guns, like, they're taking shots just like the soldiers are taking shots, but they're trying to
Right,
capture
yeah,
pictures.
it's crazy when you see it. Like,
It's very kind of unique take on a firefight.
yeah.
It's very exciting. Like, and I feel like we're shitting on the movie a lot because I feel like the themes are sloppy, but
Yeah, no,
like
it's
the execution was really well done.
so well done. Yeah, really well done.
And like got a lot of like respect for Garland as a director now, when I was kind of trashing him as a director before. Like, directing action, like he's really at the top of his game here. And then, as I mentioned before, like there's just so many awesome, striking visuals in this.
Yeah.
And I guess it's a movie about like taking pictures, right? So it makes sense that
Exactly, yeah.
it's such a beautiful film to look at.
No, they did a really great job on that. Which is kind of, I think it's always kind of been his strength, really. His movies always have amazing visuals and
Yeah, like Annihilation does look really incredible.
yeah, oh yeah,
Um, and it's kind of interesting that they had such a big focus on photojournalism when that's really not much of a thing
yeah.
anymore.
Right. Well, like using film as well. Like, I was like, she's using a film camera. Like,
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Like, and she's like processing it on the
yeah.
bleachers or what. I'm like, I don't quite buy this.
No,
That's
I wasn't buying that either. I wasn't buying a lot of the stuff where they're like running around with like no protection at all. Like they had that one scene where they had helmets and Kevlar when they were fighting with the guys in the Hawaiian shirts, which I
yeah,
thought was hilarious. And then they just like, okay, we just won't wear those anymore, and just like running around, just fucking not wearing no protection. And I'm like, you're definitely gonna get shot if you do that.
yeah. So we're Hawaiian shirts to Florida Alliance.
They must have been right, I guess. That's funny.
It's just so fascinating. And like as I said before, I think the reason why they had there be like three sides was so that you could kind of purposely murky the
Yeah,
waters there.
exactly. Yeah.
But like a three-sided war is really confusing because
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like the Florida Alliance and the Western forces are working together.
No.
Like, are they both trying to capture DC and are they both trying to establish a new government, or are they just saying like, these are our states and we want to kill the president, like he's got to go.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't very clear, was it? And you said you didn't watch Yellowstone, but and this is one of the things that I was like, okay,
If I watched Yellowstone, would it have been clear?
No, but what I was going to say is I think he might have been going for the Yellowstone crowd because you've got one of the Yellowstone actors in there.
Oh,
The guy, the cameraman at the end, who was with the block of wood with the glasses.
right.
He's a big character in Yellowstone.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, Jimmy from Yellowstone.
All those Yellowstone
And I was
hats.
like, oh yeah, they're like, yeehaw, there's Jimmy. So yeah,
Well,
that made me think of it. Oh, maybe.
I certainly think that's sort of the crowd he's going for.
Yeah.
Which, like, hey, he got us to go to the theater, and ultimately, I think we're recommending you all should go to the theater too, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's definitely worth seeing. And you know what? I might sleep on it tonight and wake up tomorrow and be like, oh, you know what? He actually made a good point about that.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he made a good point, but I think I don't think he made a good point, but I think it's a good movie.
Oh yeah,
And
it's an excellent movie.
I think it's obtuse enough that like you can go at it from different ways, and I think it will spark discussion. Although,
But
like I said, I don't think it has much to actually say.
But if you're a kind of person that's like really tired of the constant like news feed, news cycle of American
Yeah.
politics and all the unrest and stuff, then you might just be like, I don't need to see this in my entertainment as well.
Yeah, no, I could totally sympathize with someone who just wants to check out of this
Yeah,
conversation.
I know a lot of people who would just be like, no, I don't need that in my life.
Although it was nice Canada got a shout out, like our 300 Canadian dollars.
Yeah, they didn't
buy
really
you
explain
one.
that. They didn't really get into that though, because I feel like Canada would have a pretty large role to play if there was a huge civil war in the States.
Well,
It's just like break up the border and just be like, you guys figure it out.
Well, obviously, our currency just becomes like a sign of stability.
Just like everything's turning up Millhouse for Canada.
Canada is Millhouse. That's such a good comparison.
On that note.
All right. Well, yeah. Thanks for listening, everyone. Please remember to rate us on whatever podcast app.
Yeah, give us a rating, give us a share, tell your friends. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you and get some new listeners in.
Yep. First look, finalwordpod@gmail.com. Yeah, text us. Which side would you fight for in the Civil War?
God,
I can't.
let's not start a political
You
battle already.
you have to pick the sides from this movie.
Okay.
You can't just say like, yeah, I'm gonna fight for the North. I'm gonna fight for the South. Okay, I'm not interested in that.
I'm going to be in Canada hoarding my dollars.
Yeah, I want to know like, what are people in like Arizona, New Mexico doing when they're sandwiched right there between California and Texas?
It seemed like a lot of people were just kind of ignoring it, which would probably be very easy to do when you feel how large of a country America is. It's like, I'm just going to stay out of the major cities and just pretend like nothing's going on.
I can sympathize with that.
Yeah, just make sure we got a couple of good old boys on the roof with rifles and we can just keep our little boutique shop going.
Exactly. Oh, well, with that, maybe we'll sign off for this week. And
Yeah.
thanks for listening, everybody. And
Until next time, that's the final word.
bye.